healing emotionally from trauma is not about finding the right words, but rather about finding the right reason. Imagine waking up every day feeling like you are drowning in emotions that you cannot escape from. Well, for me, this was my reality for many years, until I was able to discover a way to take struggle and pain and turn it into something beautiful. Now, being a performing artist, a drama teacher, creative, I've often been wondering and exploring ways to understand how creativity impacts our minds. So today, I'd like to take you on a journey. A journey where I share my personal relationship with creativity and the positive impacts that it's had on my life. I also hope to enhance your awareness of creativity's role in therapy and bring your attention to its omnipresence in the world around us every single day. And maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to encourage you to take up a creative outlet here today and discover its incredible power that can be used to safeguard as well as heal us emotionally. The dragonfly. It begins its life in the water, crawling at the bottom of the pond. And it has no idea that someday it will soar through the sky. And then something changes. There's a transformation. It breaks free, it crawls out, spreads its wings, takes to the sky with a whole new perspective. I didn't realize it, but at the time, I was like this dragonfly. I felt weighed down, stuck. I couldn't really process my emotions. And just like the dragonfly, my transformation didn't happen overnight. My transformation began when I discovered a very unusual discovery. EDM. EDM is electronic dance music production, and it's a way of making music using digital tools. Now, being a performing artist, you might think that I've been emotionally grounded and confident my entire life, but let me tell you, this is not the truth. And for many years, I carried the weight of emotional trauma. From the multiple forms of abuse that I experienced, from the very adults that I trusted the most. And as an adult, I felt stuck. I felt lost, confused emotionally, both personally as well as professionally. I turned to traditional therapy, to books, to videos, research, anything I could get my hands on, to try to understand what was going on inside of me. Now, traditional therapy, that gave me the words I needed to describe what I was feeling. But EDM, that gave me a way to feel it and to transform it into something meaningful for me. And since then, my heart has been beating at 90 beats per minute. A rhythm or a tempo that is perfect for me. It's not too fast and it's not too slow. I actually remember the moment that I decided to take my leap to Dare to Bend at then age 42. There I was, drowning in my APA citations in my attempt to get my master's in psychology. And I turned to my ever-supportive partner and I said, well, there is no ways I'm doing this. So in the throes of my midlife crisis, I did the most logical thing. I bought a DJ deck. And there I was with my hands on my new Mark Party Mix Mark III, and I thought to myself, this is either genius or I'm having a meltdown. Well, it turns out it was neither. But it became one of the most crucial decisions I've ever made in my life. It was the start of my healing process. Now, when I'm producing music, I feel like I'm in control. not by suppressing my emotions, but rather by being fully honest with what I'm feeling. Taking that emotional honesty and then reshaping it into something that is meaningful to me. To understand it as opposed to push it away. I have the ability to transform my fears into rhythms, my anger into bass lines, and my hopes and my dreams into beautiful memories. Like the dragonfly emerging from the water, I also have to face discomfort before I can rise. And like learning how to produce music, healing wasn't easy either. The learning curve is steep, and I can assure you the self-doubt, oh, that is very definite. But just like in music production where we shape raw sounds into harmonious, understandable melodies, EDM gave me the ability to transform the noise into my head into something a lot more balanced. And with each song that I created, something inside of me began to shift. And the more and more I committed to the process, the more the depression began to loosen its grips on me. Creativity, it's not about making art. It's about reshaping our experiences. It's about having a process where we can understand ourselves emotionally. Science shows that when we engage in creative activities, the brain begins to rewire itself. It begins to help us heal. Now, in ways that traditional therapy cannot do alone. And let's take a look at why this happens. The brain, it's not fixed. And when we create, we are actually beginning to change things in our minds. The brain has the ability to adapt, to reshape and form new connections and neural pathways. This is known as a process called neuroplasticity. It's like strengthening a muscle. But instead of lifting weights, we're lifting our emotions. Making music, painting, and writing carves new pathways into the brain, building emotional resilience. Research shows that creative expression helps us to stimulate the reward system and to release dopamine, which helps us to reduce stress. Have you ever been so deeply immersed in something that you completely lost track of time? That is known as the flow state. The flow state is a place where we go to when we are so mindfully committed to something. Stress disappears, anxiety fades, our depression begins to fade, and we become fully present in that moment. Now, when I'm producing music, I'm not worried about the past or anxious about the future. I am here, in the moment, shaping sounds piece by piece, connecting with my flow state. Music therapy in particular has been proven to help patients with PTSD and their symptoms such as depression and anxiety. It activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that is responsible for our emotional regulation and decision making. This makes it a fantastic tool to guide us in a path for healing. A 2023 study showed that there were 9 music therapy programs that were tested on about 500 PTSD patients. And the results were a significant decrease in PTSD symptoms. Sound and rhythm are more than just entertainment. They are the path to healing. Another 2023 study shows that art therapy also had a significant positive effect on people who were suffering from depression, patients or individuals with cognitive disorders. This proves that creativity isn't just an emotional outlet. It has a positive effect and a measurable effect on mental health. Creativity can be more than just entertainment. It can be an essential tool that we can use for healing and safeguarding our own emotions. And when we merge it with traditional therapy, we also create the possibility to transform our own lives. Today isn't about becoming an artist or a musician. It's about finding a creative outlet that helps you to connect with yourself. What matters is that you dare to take the leap and to build a thoughtful relationship with it. For you, it could be through writing, dancing, pottery. But for me, it's BPM. And with that said, I'd like to take you on a journey in my creative process. Okay, so in the next few minutes, we are going to have a creative connection with each other in the room. I'm going to start off by opening up a gentle sound wave. And as you begin to hear it, I want you to thoughtfully and mindfully accept it. Accept that the sound is there. I invite you to sit comfortably. Take a nice, deep, activated breath inside. And as you slowly and gently breathe out, just settle into your own natural breathing patterns. You'll open up the sound a little more. Thoughtfully, mindfully sinking into the process, second by second. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to be involved in this process with me by sharing your emotions here today. I would like you to begin to pay attention to the relationships that sounds have with each other. And as the music begins to expand, and the creative process begins to unfold, think about the relationship that you are building with the sounds. How do those sounds, what do those feelings feel like to you? So if anybody would like to raise their hand and give me an emotion to start with, we can start shaking. Yes?
Calm. Calm.
Could you say that loud?
Calm.
Calm, feeling calm.
Calm. Yeah.
Calm, C-A?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so calm could often feel like a piano that begins to gradually open. Okay, anybody else like to share another emotion with me? Yes? Relieved. Okay, relieved. To me, that sounds like something passionate. So I'm going to transfer that into a rolling bass. a lot of other cool, fun, technical things that happen behind the sound. This isn't about the music, of course. This is about us, human beings, and our connection to creativity. The very existence of life as we know it has been born through creativity. Creativity is in everything. It is in this room, it is in our homes, in our day jobs, in our offices, at work, in our classrooms as teachers. We can find creativity in mathematics. We can find it in historical studies, through reenactments. We can find it in some obvious places like creative expression. And we can also find it in very nature itself. Creativity has the way or possibility to shape our ideas, the unexplainable and the unimaginable. The dragonfly teaches us that transformation is possible no matter where we start. But we must develop a mindful connection with creativity. And this mindful connection does the same thing for us as what the dragonfly teaches us. It lifts us beyond what we think is possible. It gives us wings to see ourselves in new perspectives, to reshape our minds, to reshape our perspectives and emotions, and to embrace ourselves with courage. Traditional therapy and medication are absolutely essential. But when we throw creativity into it, it creates something unique. A connection. A commitment. It allows us to connect with our inner selves in ways that words cannot. And it gives us the courage to embrace ourselves. When we use creativity as a tool to explore and express our feelings in a way that words cannot, we can thrive. So I ask you this: what if healing emotionally is not about finding the right words, but about you finding your right rhythm? Thank you.